This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
I think we're going to end it. This war has been won.
I don't care what color your state is. I don't care if you're red or you're blue.
We do have logs, but there's also conflicting information.
Everybody gets so mad in a line. Too much stress.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
No more nukes. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. President Trump sounding optimistic that talks going on right now between the U.S. and Iran could bring the nearly month-old war in the Middle East to an end, saying Iranian negotiators have agreed to no longer pursue nuclear weapons.
I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won.
Trump also saying Iran has agreed to make a gift to the U.S. involving oil and gas, though he did not specify on that. He was speaking at a White House ceremony for the swearing in of Senator Mark Wayne Mullen as the new head of Homeland Security.
I don't care what color your state is. I don't care if you're red or you're blue. At the end of the day, my job is to be Secretary of Homeland and to protect everybody the same. And we will do that.
Trump says he has a lot of confidence in Mullen. The Oklahoma Republican senator takes the reins during a rather tumultuous time at the agency. DHS shut down in week 6. It's led to long lines at TSA checkpoints and airports across the country, says this frustrated flyer.
Everybody gets so mad in a line, and it's like too much stress and everybody around you. And then I think everybody hypes everybody up when they're upset and they're waiting.
Meantime, donation drives are popping up across upstate New York for TSA agents who aren't getting paid. First in Buffalo.
These people, they've gone without pay for about a month now. They need to feed their families. They need gas. So we're just trying to do everything that we can help and take care of the TSA agents the way that they've been taking care of us.
And our Sarah Harnish with word of another donation drive underway at the Ithaca Tompkins International Airport.
STSA staff continue to work without pay at airports across the country due to the partial government shutdown. People are stepping up to help out locally. A donation drive is underway at Ithaca Tompkins International Airport. Organizers are collecting non-perishable goods, household goods, and gift cards. People can drop off items today through March 27th between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. at Airport Administration curbside. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Thank you, Sarah. The NTSB today releasing more information following the deadly collision involving an Air Canada regional jet and an airport fire truck at New York's LaGuardia Airport. NTSB Chair Jennifer Hammond.
We do have logs, but there's also conflicting information, including dates and times on the logs. So now we have to go through that and rectify some of those inconsistencies. We have seen different information about how many certified professional controllers were in the facility.
Hammond says there were 2 controllers in that tower cab at the time, but again, conflicting information about exactly who was doing what duties at that time. Well, we're awaiting word from the U.S. Supreme Court, possibly as early as this week, whether they will pick up a landmark case on parental rights. The question, can schools transition students to opposite genders behind the backs of their parents? Alliance Defending Freedom's Chelsea Yeoman says a little girl at the center of the case, Foote versus Ludlow out of Massachusetts, was just 11 years old.
The school began secretly socially transitioning their 11-year-old daughter behind their backs. They gave her the wrong pronouns. They allowed her to use locker rooms with boys, all without ever informing the parents, completely depriving them of their parental rights, their religious liberty rights, every right they had related to their daughter.
The court issued an emergency decision earlier this month on a different case against the California school systems, but a full case has yet to go before all 9 justices until now. And Yeoman says it's critical that a ruling be made that will cover all 50 states.
You've got tens of thousands of children nationwide in districts that are talking about these deeply sensitive and hypersexualized content with young students and not including the parents' wishes at all. And so what we hope to see happen is the Supreme Court address this once and for all and say, look, children's rights are best protected by their parents. Parents have a right to raise their children, protect their children, and care for their children best, not the government.
A coalition of 21 states have signed on to support the parents, urging the U.S. Supreme Court to take up that case. Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories for you, as well as highlights from today's Hometown Heroes. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania House reportedly tabling the Fairness Act today. Some pro-family groups were hoping there would not be a vote today in Harrisburg. And Michael Geer with the Pennsylvania Family Institute says that so-called Fairness Act is actually one of the most egregious pieces of legislation ever concocted at the state capitol.
Christian ministries are at risk. Individuals like the Jack Phillips or the Barronelle Stutzman cases where they're just trying to live out their conscience in their business are punished by the government. We've been fighting this legislation now for 30 years, and we hope to be successful, but it takes the voice of the people to raise their voice and to say, no, we don't want this.
Geer fears the Fairness Act could punish churches, ministries, and Christian schools for adhering to a biblical worldview and expose faith-based businesses to lawsuits. Pennsylvania Republicans are pushing for legislation to strengthen election integrity. State Senator Chris Gebhardt says voter ID must be included in that conversation.
I've been on record to say I think we need to tear the whole system down and rebuild it. I think it is flawed.
Gebhardt tells ABC 27 voter ID does not suppress the vote, it protects it.
We need to create a streamlined, efficient, effective program where we're issuing IDs to citizens of this state, and that those IDs are what they're showing when they're going to vote.
Polls show upwards of 80% of Pennsylvanians support some form of voter ID. New York's Governor Kathy Hochul proposing more new gun control laws, this time targeting so-called ghost guns.
I am proposing that all 3D printers that are sold in the state have blocking software that would make it impossible to print ghost gun components and illegal switches.
The Democrat also wants to require gun makers who sell in New York State to design handguns that can't be modified with illegally made switches to fire rounds off faster. Well, the numbers are in. Nearly 52,000 fans attended the NCAA tournament last weekend in Buffalo, booking up more than 9,000 hotel rooms across the region in the process. Visit Buffalo's Patrick Collard tells WGRZ it helped that the big schools made it into the second round, so their fan bases stuck around all weekend long.
I was out buying some wings for folks that were here, and they were very appreciative, plus the fact that just the overall hospitality in our community, everybody felt very welcomed. They were having a good time, and they were just really having a good experience in Buffalo.
The economic impact of hosting an opening round NCAA tournament is estimated to be several $1 million. Well, staying on the hardwood, Syracuse has made it official now. Its pick of 2003 championship team guard Jerry McNamara as its next head coach. While GMAC is well known in central New York for his heroics back then, he has some Pennsylvania roots too, taking Bishop Hannah High School in Scranton, VA to a state championship back in the day. WNEP spoke with his old coach, Al Munley.
Jerry is about commitment and about passion. Those things have carried him from his 8th grade days over at Holy Rosary to this gym at Bishop Hannon, where he just became a natural leader.
Yeah, Munley says McNamara can certainly handle the spotlight at SU.
That just morphed into the next chapter of his life, which was a player at Syracuse that made him an absolute superstar up there. He brings that level of commitment and passion to his coaching career.
The last time the SU men made it to March Madness was 2021 when they got to the Sweet 16 as an underdog double-digit seed. Up next, highlights from today's edition of Hometown Heroes. I had a chance to speak with Susan Justum. She's executive director of Love, Inc. of Southern Chautauqua County. That Inc. is an acronym for In the Name of Christ.
Love, Inc. is an organization that actually started in 1977 in Michigan, but our affiliate started in 2008. Our mission is to mobilize the local church to transform lives and communities in the name of Christ. And what that basically means, we help churches help people. And so we serve as a networking point between the two entities. So people in need come to us, and churches that want to serve come to us, and we kind of put the two pieces together.
What form does that take? Give me a couple of examples of how that connection happens.
Sometimes churches have someone knock on their door and they need assistance, and the church will want to provide assistance, and we do the intake information for them. We do a really thorough intake, but our goal is not to just vet the individual, but to really get to know who they are and what their story is so that we can help the church help them better. Mm-hmm. So some of that help could take the form of furniture, housewares. We've got churches that provide just towels. We have churches that provide toiletries and cleaning products. So it's just trying to making those connecting points between the two entities.
There are a lot of different churches involved in this.
We've got about 42 different churches involved in our community, and we serve just southern Chautauqua County, which is unfortunate because I know the northern part of the county could use some assistance too. But it's various aspects. It could be volunteers from that church serve in our call center. It could be volunteers from that church help with the deliveries. It could be the church is a financial partner, or they could be a resource partner like the one that does the towels. So it's various aspects, but a lot of coordination and a lot of working together to make an impact in our community.
And it sounds like it crosses a lot of different denominational lines as well.
Oh, yes, we do. Part of the requirement for an affiliate is to have at least 6 different denominations, and we have that well covered.
That can be hard to do these days, to unite in rather divisive times that we're in, to get denominations to be working together in some capacity is an accomplishment.
It's a line sometimes you have to be very, very careful, but we're really fortunate that we have great relationships with our church partners, and it's not about the denomination, it's about God's love and trying to show that love to those in need. And that crosses all denominational lines.
As well it should. That's great. How did you personally get involved in this operation?
I heard about the ministry when the job was posted, and it just drew my attention. The aspect of working with the churches together just really pulled on my heartstrings. And so I've been here almost 9 years. I'm 9 years, and I'm saying I still love my job. I love being able to minister to the pastors as well as minister to those in need and the volunteers. And God has just blessed us in so many ways in that aspect, and I feel very fortunate.
9 years is a pretty good sampling. I think you like it, and you found a good fit there.
It really is. When God uses all your gifts and talents and puts them together in one place, it's huge, and it's just such a blessing.
I know you have a fundraiser coming up for Love, Inc. Later in March, and tell me about that.
It is called our Ministers March Mania. It is our 9th annual Ministers March Mania. It is March 28th at 11 a.m. It's at Faulkner High School Gym in Faulkner, New York. We have pastors from 14 different churches, a total of 16 pastors serving, and they just leave it all out on the court. So we have pastors that love playing basketball, and we have pastors that play basketball for Love, Inc. And just the combination of all of them playing together. They have a great time together, and it's the only fundraising event that we do, but it is just so much fun to bring the body of Christ together for a basketball game. The added benefit is that Love, Inc. gets to benefit from the funds raised. It's a donation at the door event. Each team that's assigned, we have what's called a Cup Run It's Over challenge, and so the teams compete to raise funds against each other for Love, Inc. And then we have things like a bake sale and a silent auction, and we do a beanbag toss with the kids. And then we also have the Lake Erie Jackals, which were formerly known as the Jamestown Jackals. They come in the second half of the game and add a little professional ball to it, and it just makes the event really exciting and fun.
Highlights from today's edition of Hometown Heroes. You can hear the entire feature and, of course, all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
A surprising number of workers are quietly sabotaging their financial future. Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. It may sound dramatic, but it's true. One of the most damaging decisions employees make is cashing out their 401k when they change jobs. Studies show that more than 40% of workers do it, often without realizing the long-term consequences. The problem? Cashing out early typically triggers taxes and penalties, and more importantly, interrupts decades of potential growth. Money that could have compounded for retirement suddenly disappears, leaving far less to live on in your later years. Instead of cashing out, workers can roll them into a new employer plan or move them into an IRA. Your future self will thank you. Get biblical answers to your financial questions in the Faith Fi community. Download Faith Fi, Faith and Finance in your app store or visit faithfi.com.
Thank you very much, Rob. Finally at 5, a zookeeper's life isn't an easy one under the best of circumstances. So imagine being in charge of a whole zoo during a major blizzard.
This is the most snow I think I've ever seen in my whole life. And there was a solid hour that I really couldn't help really anybody because I was completely snowed in the staff building.
That's Kyle Kirk, who manages the Wildwood Zoo up in Wisconsin, where a ferocious blizzard recently dumped over 2 feet of snow, howling winds, ice cold. Once he dug himself out, he started doing the same for the animals, especially smaller ones like skunks who, despite his efforts, didn't seem to really appreciate it.
When I finally had dug them out, because they were stomping at me and saying like, oh, you can take away the snow now.
You don't want a skunk mad at you. He tells WSAW bigger animals, though, like a large lynx they have, were digging the drifts.
It was really fun to see him walking on top of the snow with his great big paws, and he could have went for another 2 feet.
Yeah, not me. Kirk spent 3 nights at the zoo all by himself, making sure all of the animals were okay.
It's a responsibility we don't take very lightly, getting some of these animals from being so snowed in, because who wants to be cooped up for a number of days? I can get the feeling.
Yeah, so can we all. And that's the world we live in for Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.